The men are now taking the field. This is where we stand coming into the day after 5 events. Noah Ohlsen had a 5-point lead on Matt Fraser. Jacob Hepner is in third. It's Panchik in fourth, and Adrian Moonweiler rounding out the top 5. This is the exact same thing that we saw with the women, the exact same course. Matt Fraser starts the day in second place overall. He will be in the opening heat along with Jacob Hepner and the overall leader, Noah Ohlsen. So Ohlsen will be right in the middle of the field. He's wearing the white overall leader's jersey. First qualifying heat is underway, and it's Adrian Moonweiler at the bottom of your screen who's going to be first to make the turn. Good cut by Noah Ohlsen in the middle of the field, and Ohlsen now looks like he has a little bit of a lead. Matt Fraser on the far side getting to the pylons.
Little stumble from both Hepner and Ohlsen right there.
Ohlsen across, he's going to take the heat, and now we see where everyone else slots in. So it's Ohlsen, Panchik, Moonweiler, Fraser at 26.49, and Jacob Hepner rounding out.
And it was if Dan Bailey had called Noah Ohlsen and told him, don't throw your chest through, throw your foot through. Did you see him do that?
Yep, absolutely, taking the good advice there.
Yes, that was nice of you, Dan. Maybe he was watching the show this morning while getting ready.
I would assume he probably knew it before I said anything.
Okay.
Great run for Ohlsen, though. That's huge for him. I mean, winning your heat, that's all you can do at this point.
25.60 seconds for that man, Noah Ohlsen. He has, for the second time in his career, has the white leader's jersey.
And he had mentioned that this is something that he has been working on. He knows that he's not quite as good with all kinds of different really short, high power output events, clean, sprinting, combining those two different things. So this is something he's been working on, and right now it just showed.
The next heat are the men 5 through 10. Pat Vellner's at the bottom of your screen. He currently sits in 10th place overall. At the bottom of your screen, he's in the maroon top. Vellner has got to get himself into at least the semifinal heat. Vellner making the turn. It's like Jorgen Carl Gudmundsson next to him. Gudmundsson first, knocks over the pylon. James Newberry's in the middle of the field. Vellner making the turn to home. Gudmundsson looks like he's going to get there first. Gudmundsson across the finish line. Vellner, I think, may have taken 4th. Vellner's going to get 5th.
Oh boy.
26.11, but that is faster than some of the times that we saw in the last heat, so he could be okay. But it's Jorgen Carl Gudmundsson, 25.36 seconds, edging out Will Moorad, the former soccer player. Matt McLeod is in there. James Newberry.
James Newberry was a little bit far behind on that one.
There are the official times of McLeod at 25.95, Moorad 25.77, Newberry 26.06. Gudmundsson, though, the fastest time, and Vellner at 26.11. So Vellner was faster than 3 of the 5 times in the first heat. But Jorgen Carl Gudmundsson, straightaway speed again, Dan, paying off.
Yeah, he definitely got to the first pylon first, and then on the way back, he was able to enter into where you have to make all those cuts first. Didn't make a mistake on any of the cuts and came away with the heat victory and a great time.
Third of 4 qualifying heats coming up, and now we get to the men who are on the outside looking in. Remember, we have 20 athletes in the field right now. We're cutting half of them after this event, so the top 10 move on, and then it's that way for the rest of the weekend. Logan Collins and Cole Sager, along with Travis Mayer, the other men in this heat. Travis Mayer is at the bottom of your screen.
Stand by.
Lucas Hogberg, the only one going with a standing start, immediately gets left behind. The Hogberg trailing here as Travis Mayer and Logan Collins hit the turning point and make their way back. Looks like Travis Mayer has the lead over Logan Collins. Cole Sager's in the middle of the field, and then Samuel Quant in the pink shorts. Final sprint to the finish.
Travis Mayer.
Mayer, and it looks like Sager. As Travis Mayer, 25.82. Cole Sager takes second. Quant, Collins, and then Lucas Hogberg finishing in 5th. So that is a great result for Travis Mayer. He was 15th place coming into this event. 293 points. He is 19 points back of Pat Vellner, who sits in 10th. So it looks like Travis Mayer maybe moving on. So Vellner at 26.11 still beat some of the times in that heat. So Vellner just trying to get himself into the next round. If he does that, it's looking okay. But Travis Mayer with a great finish here as he got to the final pylons.
I was going to say same thing with Cole Sager doing well, getting under the 26-second mark. In contrast to that, Lucas Högberg did not do so well in this, so not doing potentially what he needed to do to stay in the event for the rest of the weekend.
This is going to be now the final qualifying heat as we take a look at the official results for the fastest times that we have through 3 heats. So it's Gudmundsson, Ohlsen, Moorad, Mayer, and Sager, your top 5 times. So Pat Vellner is in there, but he's in the bottom 5, and there's 1 heat to go. The men in this heat need to find a way to get themselves into the finals, much like Caroline Prevost did with the women. She certainly helped her cause as she tries to get a spot inside the top 10.
And yesterday when we were interviewing Chandler Smith, he had mentioned that he would love to see some running come up, but that we'd already see 2 running events. So it'll be interesting if by running he meant sprinting or just longer running.
Casper Gamelmark is at the bottom of your screen. Chandler Smith in the middle. Keep an eye on him. Right now he is 16th place overall. And a couple stumbles at the start, and Chandler Smith looked back. And it looks like they're going to start over. There was a false start. It looked like Chandler Smith and Casper Gamelmark, closest to the camera, may have stepped across the line.
Now I'm interested to see what the penalty is. Is there a penalty? There's a few different ways you can do this. One, you can disqualify those that false started, or you could charge a false start to the entire field, and then the next person who false starts is out. I'm not sure how they're going to handle it. Maybe they'll just walk back and do a reset.
I'm sure Pat Vellner right now is going up to Dave Casper going, kick them all out. Just leave it right here. They're all done.
Send them in the
They all
stand.
cheated. But if you look at the bottom left and Chandler Smith in the middle, watch the stumble. That's Gamelmark stepping across, and then he does it again. And then Chandler Smith gets his arm in across as well, and that's what may have triggered the false start. We will restart the 4th and final qualifying heat.
Stand by.
Clean start. Elliot Simmons looks like he's getting left behind. Gamelmark makes the turn. Making it now to the pylons. Chandler Smith in the middle of the field, looking like he's going to take 3rd as we have a stumble from Gamelmark, who dives across the finish line. So it's Joshua Wichtrup, Saxon Panchik, Chandler Smith, Gamelmark, and Simmons. So Pat Vellner beat everybody but Wichtrup in this one. So Vellner might squeak his way in to the qualifying semifinal heat now.
Very good for Pat Vellner, and that time there, 24:91, I think is one of the fastest times, if not the fastest time we've seen over all the heats. So definitely a name to watch there with Josh.
Now we will have the ceremonial moving of the name placards over into the semifinal round.
Everyone on the sideline is holding their breath.
But here's Gamelmark stumbling and then just barreling over the finish line.
And with all of that, he still has the fastest time coming out of the first round.
And here's how Wichtrup navigated his way around the pylons.
Yeah, making those clean cuts. He was the first to him. Obviously, he's got the straightaway speed as long as the endurance, as well as the endurance speed we saw from that ruck event. And that's something that you want to see from an athlete at the CrossFit Games. Somebody who's incredibly well-rounded, who can do both. They can go incredibly long as well as incredibly short when it comes to sprinting, weightlifting, gymnastics, any kind of modality or time domain. Casper's name down there was written in red, or not his name, but his time rather, and I think that's because when he fell, he bobbled outside of his lane, is what it looked like. He went outside of that yellow end lane marker, and I think if you probably trace into anybody else's lane anytime during the event, they're going to hit you with a little bit of a penalty.
Which could also explain what happened with Brooke Wells.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, it looked like Pat Vellner's time was also written in red on that board.
Was it?
Yes.
Well, some unknowns there that we got to get a little more information on.
You can see Pat Vellner.
Pat Vellner got knocked 10 seconds as well.
Oh my gosh, 36-11.
So that
what he needed
might keep Vellner
36
from moving on. He's from staying in the competition.
Right.
That is.
I gotta wonder what was the. I don't know what the penalty was.
I don't know what it was either. So these are your times, your top 10. So it's Wichtrup at 24.91, Newberry 26.06. Now a name I did not see in there, Matt Fraser.
Good sleuthing, you're right. Matt Fraser is
So
not in there.
Noah Ohlsen has a huge opportunity here
Yep.
to start to put some distance between himself and Matt Fraser. We don't know where Fraser's going to finish. He'll get, the best he can do is 11th. Ohlsen is going to be at the bottom of your screen. He's wearing the red leader shorts. First semifinal heat is underway. Keep an eye in the middle of the field. The man with the ponytail, blonde hair, that's Joshua Wichtrup. He tore through the first qualifying round. Ohlsen makes the turn. Ohlsen looks like he's about dead even with Wichtrup. Noah Ohlsen, as all 5 athletes hit the pylons at the same time, it's going to come down to this final weave.
It looks like a synchro event right now.
Sprint to the finish, not sure who got it.
Good luck guessing.
Will Moorad.
Will Moorad, 25.28. Gudmundsson next to him. Panchik is 3rd, Wichtrup is 4th, and Ohlsen is 5th. Less than 0.4 seconds, fewer than 0.4 seconds separating 1st from 5th.
And that's typical for how these events go.
Wow. So Will Moorad, who is in 7th place overall coming into this event, looks like he's going to stay inside the top 10 and move on. And that is a great story for Will Moorad.
Will Moorad's been down for the past couple seasons. Handful of injuries have kind of taken him out. He's had to take time to recover, rebuild. When he first came on the scene, everybody knew he could lift a lot. He had really great conditioning. It was like, wow, this kid's going to go somewhere. It's great to see him back on the field at the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games.
Second qualifying heat is underway. Panchik and Sager hitting the pylon and making the turn to home. Scott Panchik looks like he's in 2nd place as this is dead even again. And this heat might be faster than the last one. All 5 men across the finish line at about the same time, and it's Travis Mayer and Matt McLeod. They tie. 25.98 seconds. Those two are moving on.
Now the question I have in my head, that 9.8, does the timer go out 1 more digit? Is that how they're going to figure that one out or not? I know it's not displayed here with that tie. Sometimes these timers, won't display, but the judges can see an additional digit there to differentiate that time.
The good news is, though, those are the 2 fastest times. Those guys are moving on regardless. Now it's the next 3, and this is coming down to less than a second to decide who's going to be moving on to the finals.
They put it up.
They added an extra number. So Moorad with 25.28. He's the fastest. Bjorn Gudmundsson looks like he'll go over. I think Saxon Panchik is in there as well. Wichtrup's going to go. And then I think it's going to be maybe Noah no, it would be James Newberg. No, Noah Ohlsen I think is going to go. I think Noah Ohlsen will be next, if I'm reading that correctly. Wichtrup and Ohlsen should be the next 2.
Now we got another name.
Wichtrup just got hit with a penalty. We're going to have to find out why that was. Maybe he strayed outside his lane. If he stepped on the yellow line at the end of the race, that's a 10-second penalty. Well,
wow.
And that's huge for him because he needed to get into the finals.
And that means Matt
And that opens the door for Matt McLeod. So now everybody, it looks like, in this final heat is already safe. Final heat, winner take all. We are underway. Noah Ohlsen, your overall leader, bottom of your screen. Next to him, Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson. Will Moorad is in the middle. Saxon Panchik, and then Matt McLeod. All the athletes hitting the turn at the same time. And we are dead even. Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson, though, looks like he's opening up a slight lead over Noah Ohlsen. Gudmundsson weaving his way through. Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson to the finish line. It's going to be Gudmundsson. I think Panchik is second and Ohlsen will be third. But it's Saxon Panchik by 3/100ths of a second getting the event win. That is gigantic for Saxon Panchik. 18th place overall coming into the event. He's going to lock up 100 points. Bjorn Gudmundsson will finish second. Ohlsen is third. So Noah Ohlsen will pick up 90 points. Will Moorad is going to keep himself in the top 10, as is Matt McLeod. But Saxon Panchik,
huge move from him,
is hoping he did just what Carolyn Prevost may have done, outside looking in the final heat, and earning a ton of points in the process, being congratulated by Noah Ohlsen. And Saxon Panchik knows he needed that.
I mean, to go along with Haley Adams, Saxon Panchik, another very young athlete, somebody who doesn't have nearly as much as experience as the rest of the field, definitely stepping it up here, taking some of that athletic background that all the Panchik kids appear to have, racking up 100 points in this event.
And it was that last lunge over the finish line. You saw him stick out that leg, and that's experience coming into play. If you've never dealt with that timing chip before, you run on instinct. These guys know now that they stick that leg out across the finish line, and that's what's going to trip the timing chip. And Saxon Panchik, rightfully so, is pumped up because he may have just done what he needed to do to join his older brother Scott in the top 10 for the rest of the weekend.
Saxon, you say you really needed that, and now that you've gotten that event win, how does it set you up for the rest of the events here to come?
It sets me up with a lot of confidence going into the rest of the events.
What's it like for you to be out here with your brother sharing the floor, especially knowing that eliminations are coming and so every point counts?
It's amazing that, that's how it is during training sessions when we get together, and, competition's always on.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Saxon Panchik, 100 points. Now the question is, did he do enough to get himself up into the top 10? He came in with 287 points. He only trailed Pat Vellner by, I think, 35.